Hi, I'm Matt with Schematical, and today we're talking about Chaos Crawler. It's my new fun little project I got going on. So, I am an avid podcast listener, audiobooks, all that stuff. I like to ingest information that way. I also like to put blinders on and not be distracted by spam and junk people throw in my inbox. So, I was thinking, what if I could just take the news articles and things I actually do want to hear about that end up in my inbox and have them formatted into a podcast? So wouldn't it be nice if I could create my own a separate email address, matt@chaoscrawler.com. That's not my normal email address. Also, that's not a real domain, so I don't send stuff there. And I could have emails sent to it from email lists, and then it could summarize that information for me and generate a podcast that I can then listen to while I'm working out or doing something more productive. So I built it, and it works. And even better, you could do multiple podcasts with it. So I could do matt.podcast name, whatever.com. So today we'll go through an example where I take my mailing list and convert that into a podcast. Not that I just want to hear that, but you can also get my daily writing as it's read out by me in a virtual way. I'm not going to lie, it will be done by an AI. I did write it, I'm just not reading it. I do plan to eventually release this as a product on my website, so it's something that if you guys are interested in, you can sign up for. You can use AI to automatically generate podcasts and read them out loud. They sound pretty good, so it still needs some work here and there, but it's not the most robotic one. So without further ado, let's jump into my diagramming tool, which is also freely available on my website right now. Actually, technically, it's not officially launched yet, but if you want access to it, I'll get it to you. So this is the network map diagram that kind of shows all the different resources involved. I used DynamoDB, Lambdas, did all sorts of fun stuff to make sure this was very cost efficient and didn't charge me through the nose while it was running there. It's only basically I only get charged when it's being used for almost every resource except the queue. That one is constant, and some data storage costs for this stuff, but no processing costs 99% of the time. So very cost efficient. So let's take a look at the flow charts here. This right here is a swim lane diagram, and if you see my channel for any amount of time, you can see my other videos on it, but this will demonstrate the flow of information throughout the system. Now, because of my fun little animation software here, we are going to go ahead and watch this play out. So there's the email coming in. It hits SES, which is AWS's simple email service. That will process the email and send it to SQS. Now you can send it directly to Lambda, but oddly enough, the body of the email does not make it to Lambda. So that's really weird. So I send it to SQS first, creates the record in DynamoDB. So we store what I call a digest stream item. A digest stream is basically one of those email addresses. So I could have multiple digest streams for multiple podcasts if I wanted to at the same time. And then we store the new item that came in. So this is a news item. And then let's just say at some point I go ahead and invoke the Lambda, or a cron job kicks this off here. The Lambda will then load all the items for that stream. You can tell I wrote this before I actually started coding it because I changed it from news items to digest stream items. But then we send it off to ChatGPT to be summarized. Now, that does more than just summarize it, okay? The ChatGPT part is necessary primarily to remove all the extra junk that's in the email. And it really does a good job of it, because otherwise you get like the unsubscribe at the bottom and the copyright notice and all that other stuff. It would just narrate it if you just did the raw thing. So we do need ChatGPT here to just basically make it so it's not garbage. And I actually made it so you can customize the prompt. So if you wanted it to do more than just remove it and do a quick summary, you could probably get it to do something more complicated. So that goes back to the worker Lambda right there. That updates the news item in the database, so it caches it, so we're not doing the ChatGPT step twice, because that would be expensive. And then we send it off to 11 Labs. So 11 Labs is the voice cloning service I'm using right now. It's one of the more professional ones. I'm tempted to do my own voice model and just run it in the cloud, but I don't think it'd be as high quality. So we'll see how expensive this gets. So far, I'm on their $1 free tier there. So from there, we store the MP3 return from 11 Labs with the narration in it in S3, and for some reason it jumps back to the beginning. We store it in S3 at the end, and I probably didn't finish doing the diagram there. But yeah, we store it in S3, and then now I've got it so you get an RSS feed that you can subscribe to on your phone, which we will do at the end. All right, so let's jump into creating our first digest stream, our first, basically the email for the podcast here. And I'm going to just call this one, I'm going to call it Daily Mail List. And let's go, welcome to the Schematical Daily Mailing, Daily Digest. Now, see, it's not, if I do it at the end of the week, it's going to be weekly, not daily. Interesting. Automated podcast. There we go. Welcome to the Schematical Automated Podcast. I'm going to have it summarize it. I'm going to give it an outro text of thanks for listening. I'm going to leave the default prompts in there. There's some other options, but I don't really have all that polished yet. So let's go ahead and create that one. You can see it's created already over there, and it knows I'm the user that created it. And if I go to List Digest Streams, you'll be able to see it. Nothing too fancy here. And there's the daily mailing list now with all that extra stuff in there. So I'm going to take this, I actually only get these scheduled emails, but I'm going to take one of the things that I wrote and I'm going to forward it to the email that I created, which is going to be my username on there, which, good guess, is schematical. The daily mailing list ID here is going to be the second part. So schematical.dailymailinglist@, and this one is actually chaos crawler.schematical. And I called it Chaos Crawler because eventually I want to ingest data by crawling it, and I want to do that for a lot of projects. And so this was just going to be the basis of a couple different projects probably. And we're just going to go ahead and forward it to that email address there. Now if I run this query again, notice there's no digest stream items. So now I can run this here, and we can see that the daily mailing list has these digest stream items, or a digest stream item right here. Now it has not been summarized yet. I want people to be able to kind of tweak it and approve it ahead of time in case you're getting spammed. You don't want to be running a bunch of expensive AI operations if that were to happen. From here, let's say I want a summary of that. Right now I'm going to manually call it, but eventually I want to automate the timing so you could say daily, monthly, whatever. And we're going to run it against daily mailing list right there. And this should render it. It should take a second, but we're going to go ahead and get it to render here. Again, this would normally be done by a worker. You wouldn't just call it and tell it to do it because it takes a second. And now it's loading up all the items, which is only one right now because I just sent it the one. It's going to send that off to GPT with my prompt to be summarized, and then it will send it out to 11 labs to generate the MP3. Looks like it worked. Now the other thing I didn't mention is the only way you can ingest this right now, because I've only been hacking on it for a few days, is an RSS feed. But you can pump that RSS feed into your cellular device, if you haven't misplaced it, into your right there, into your mobile device of choice, and it will read it. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at, all right, so here's what we just downloaded.
Welcome to the Schematical Automated Podcast. In Software Architecture Diagramming 101, Network Map Diagram, we discuss the importance of diagrams in communicating the game plan with your dev team. A network map diagram is one of the most basic yet crucial diagrams I use.
All right, that's enough of that. I think she over-summarized a little bit there, but it's a good start. We'll keep working on it. We'll keep tweaking it. ChatGPT-4, still not perfect. Plus, I probably could touch up my prompts quite a bit. So now, let's see if I can get that piped into my MP3 player here. I tried doing it with, I need a better angle for this, but go to our subscriptions, add one, add from RSS address. I've already got one in there for it. We just need to change that to, instead of test digest, we're going to go to the daily mailing. There we go. Now we have one episode, and
Welcome to the Schematical Automated Podcast. In Software Architecture Diagramming 101, Network Map Diagram, we discuss the importance of diagrams in communicating the game plan with your dev team.
now I can do that with all types of information. Summarize it and help me digest it. I'm hoping I can even use GPT to do some spam filtering as well to make sure that there's not any junk in there I don't want to hear. Additionally, I've thought about this, and I could do this with all sorts of things. So I could summarize up a lot of information and create public podcasts if anybody's interested in that. Not quite sure. It's a bit of a gray area, but technically possible. I'd also like to thank the YouTuber Mike Russell for giving me this idea. He showed us how to do it on Make in a tutorial. I'll try and link it in the show notes. Not quite sure where I'm going to go with it from here. Maybe I'll just keep using it myself, or maybe I'll release it to the world. With that said, thanks for watching. If you're an indie hacker like me and you're looking to meet up with other indie hackers, jump on the Discord. If you're in need of someone that can help you scale your Amazon Web Services stuff and save you money on it, not break the bank while you do it, jump on schematical.com. That's what I do. I've got group coaching. I've got just regular consulting. I've got all sorts of options for you there. And if you like this type of content, me inventing oddball stuff and breaking down how to host it on the cloud very cheaply, then please, by all means, subscribe to the channel. With that said, I'm Matt with Schematical. Thanks for watching. And then 502, lovely. Getting lovely. Lovely. You're just having fun with me today, aren't you? Now, the other thing I've got, the only way you can really ingest this summary, subscribe.
From February 19th, February 23rd. These include Monday, JJ will be flipping pancakes at 9:30 a.m. and Kelly will lead a 15-minute meditation
This is
practice
cursed.
at 10:05.
That's not even, oh, that was a podcast I was listening to earlier.